a member of the MiceChat Podcast Network. MicePod.com. Now, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Warning, this show contains childish adult content and is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other bugger. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty, then on with the show. Yes, thank you. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mouse's Head. It's been a few weeks, but that's the summer holidays, summer vacations for our American listeners out the way. I am Paul.
Also Paul.
Nick.
It's been a couple of weeks. We're out of practice, aren't we?
Yeah.
I like it's also Paul though. Like maybe we should change the name to that.
Also Paul.
Also Paul.
Yeah.
The other Paul. Yeah.
And
I'm just trying that on. See how it fits.
Like a glove. Joining us in the snug bar of the Mouse's Head tonight, chaps by the name of Ken and Lynn, who, if you listen to the sweepspot podcast, and I'm not going to say that in a bit.
It's a tongue twister.
Gentlemen, would you care to introduce yourselves as well?
My name's Lynn.
And my name is Ken. I think we should probably say a little bit more than that, though, Lynn.
That's all we start with, and we hope it stays there. But yeah, carry on.
Well, my name is Ken Pellman. I did work at Disneyland starting in 1990, and I stayed there through 2005. I was there for 15 years and 2 days before they said, get out. And and I met Lynn while working there. And Lynn, you want to take over?
Sure. Yeah, I started in 1998, and I stayed two years past Ken until 2007 in custodial. Also, yeah.
Excellent, and we'll be finding out a bit more about that. Where can they find your own podcast?
You can first go. We have a website, www.thesweepspot.com. We're on iTunes, MiceChat. Podcast Network, like with you guys. Yep. Stitcher, the normal places.
Yeah, maybe be sure if you're looking for it by a search, it's the sweep like sweeper, the sweep spot. So that's you don't want to send you to the wrong place and you'll end up like buying cakes or something.
Or probably something for the British listeners. I don't know how well it would translate. We have a children's TV puppet show called Sooty and Sweep, and he's a small grey dog.
Oh. Who squeaks, yeah, he does.
Sweep is, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot other than whisper into some bloke's ear.
And speaking of websites, we have our own website, which is www.DisAfterDark.com, where you can visit us for all different bits and pieces. Some very good book reviews from our contributor Jen as well. But also, if you want to contact us, you can email us at podcast@DisAfterDark.com.
And while that's true, you can also find us on Twitter at DisAfterDark, and we're on Facebook.com/DisAfterDark. And as previously mentioned, we're on MiceChat.com as well.
And when Craig's not busy in Florida on his holidays, he's also manning our Instagram and Pinterest and, I don't know, Bebo and MySpace.
Teletexts.
Yeah.
Our modems.
Yeah.
CFAX.
He's monitoring our bulletin board for us.
He's manning the fax machine. Now, Paul, I know it's been a while. To paraphrase an American rock band from the early 2000s, it's been a while. And so what we've actually neglected to do, we've very well introduced ourselves in the show and our esteemed guests as well. But one thing we failed to do so far
is I'm a bit thirsty.
Yeah. Oh, I was just assuming we were getting there. I've got. Well, you can tell I'm assuming because I've got my bottle opener poised.
Poised.
It is literally in the air.
In which case, gentlemen, it is the Mouse's Head. What is your beverage of choice today?
birthday weekender, Mr. Dolan. Do you want to go first?
Thank you, chaps. Appreciate the good wishes. I'm following in Nick's footsteps. So there we go. I got a bottle of Bulmers, and it's the Zesty Blood Orange. So I'll add the little orange bird. Cheers. Mrs. Branch, or Mrs. Soap Dish, she normally goes by Mrs. Branch, has got rather addicted to Bulmer's bold black cherry, but I bought some last weekend when it was sunny and warm, and I'm going for a Coors Light, so cheers. Cheers.
I was at home manning the child duties whilst the wife was at work on Saturday, and she did the shopping on the way home. And she said, "What beer would you like?" I said, "Try and get something with a kind of a Florida-type, Disney-type connection." Unfortunately, I'm drinking Budweiser.
Foster's. Oh. I've noticed as well, they've started to do, we've got Bud Light over here now, we've got Bud Light with lime as well, Bud 66, so we're getting a few of the American ones. But Ken, Lynn, are you joining us for a drink?
I would like a Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster, please.
Nice choice.
On draft or bottled?
Bottled, of course.
Okay.
If you can keep the cap on it.
I just have water. That's fine.
Well, that's taking
Easy to place.
That's taking up Craig's mantle for the last few weeks while he's been on his diet. So,
does anyone remember Intergalactic Gargle Blaster?
No.
It was a Soda Stream when Soda Stream first came out in the 80s. It was one of their varieties, and it was bright blue.
Okay.
I don't know that.
No. I'm trying to imagine now in the next in Spectre. I mean, the previous Casino Royales was 2 measures of vodka, 1 of gin, 1 of Kina Lillet shaken. I'm imagining him walking in going, "Have you got a Soda Stream? Because I want one of those Intergalactic Gargle Blasters in blue, please, mate." Why not? He's advertising bloody Heineken now as well.
If I can't get the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster, I'll take just some of that Old Jenks Spirit, which is one of the ingredients.
This is completely off topic, but Ken, has anyone ever told you sound like Harry Shearer?
No, but I wish my accountant would think I'm like Harry Shearer.
Yeah. Just wait for him to quit The Simpsons again and see if you can get a few voiceovers.
No, do I have to? That's not one of Harry's characters.
It's not bad. So basically, you're just after any job on The Simpsons. I'd hire you.
Excellent.
And there is one of Harry's.
Yeah, no, this is so full of win. This is great. We haven't even started on the Disney malarkey yet.
Oh, we're here to talk about Disney?
Yeah.
Oh. Eventually.
well, unless the MiceChat Podcast Network is all about rodent extermination. And then
that would be quite interesting, wouldn't it?
Welcome to Disneyland Podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll come on to that, I'm sure. Oh dear.
Well, I suppose you better hit the jingle.
Which one? The news one, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
A view of the news with DisAfterDark.
So, are you starting then, Nick? Go on then.
Well, I think the problem is because we've been away for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And a few big things have happened. So I think there's one big thing that's happened, which I think we can all discuss. I've done a little bit of research on it, so I kind of lead, but we can all discuss it. But I think it wouldn't be right if we didn't discuss the massive news that came out recently, which is that Disaster is closing down in Universal Studios, as is Beetlejuice, to be replaced by the Fast and Furious' new attraction.
We've switched parts, but I don't. We do say we do it.
No, I just, you know what? I just wanted to say that. End of that story. Of course, what I wanted to talk about was D23.
Yeah. Go on.
Although, actually, before we do, speaking of Universal, you know that they're replacing the I Love Lucy shop.
Just find a truck and go down.
Right, hang on.
bear in mind, the Malibus will not invite me on their show. No. So I've got to speak Universal on here. But the I Love Lucy shop is closing down and being turned into a little kitty.
Little
kitty? What's it called?
Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty, that's the one. Yeah. Because of the kitty.
I think Little Kitty was a special place that was on Hollywood Boulevard at one point, but I don't know. I never darkened the door.
Little Kitty is the Dollar Tree version of Hello Kitty. Poundland to our UK friends.
I think I prefer the idea of it being some sort of very specialist shop with beaded curtains on the door.
Yes, and a few X's in the window. Yeah. But no, of course, I think any respectable Disney podcast, no, obviously some not so respectable, would be discussing what's gone on recently at D23.
I think most of them have probably discussed it by now, but we've been on holiday.
Yeah.
Well, look, there are about 3 people that only listen to us. I mean, of course, there's only about 12 people that listen to us full stop. Yeah. But those 3 people may not have heard anyone else talking about it.
I know. So what's your biggest news that's come out of it?
Well, no, I think...
Pick
I don't think we should go to... Well, if I have to pick one, clearly the biggest news of the whole weekend is the news that Orlando Bloom is returning to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Is he?
That was the biggest news, right?
It may well have been.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm sure. I don't think there's anything bigger. But yeah, I mean, the great news, because I mean, obviously we're all itching with anticipation for Pirates of the Caribbean 12. Pirates Go Bananas, and we've all been waiting for it. Who cares about Tron 3 when you can have another 12 Pirates of the Caribbean films? And the news that Orlando Bloom's back, returning to the franchise that made his name.
Yeah.
If you don't count Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you don't count that, because it's Disney podcasts,
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was that to the interest of some, I'm sure. But no, come on, Star Wars Land.
I know. That's the one.
Now, there's one thing we need to clear up. Yeah. There was I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, there's a very good Photoshop of, it's called Lucasland, and it looks like a park map that apparently was going around suggesting this is what was going to be at the Star Wars land. But if anyone's seen the or saw the presentation, who was there, or saw the feedback online, obviously Star Wars Land is not going to be a theme park. It is going to be, as the name suggests, a land. But I mean, at the same time, bloody impressive.
At least they've announced something that we knew was coming anyway.
But at the same time, we could have had. I think what they've done, and obviously their artist renderings are excellent, but what they've given the impression of is that Star Wars Land is not going to just be an area with Star Wars attractions. It's going to be like a Hogwarts, a Wizarding World of Harry Potter kind of area. I think any Star Wars fan would have been happy with a few more Star Wars rides, but looking at what they're looking to do, it is mind-blowing.
With the amount of budget that they're going to put to that, and the fact that obviously the next set of films is due out this year, who's opening a book on the entire Star Wars land being broken ground and finished and open before Pandora?
I'm not opening that book.
No.
Come on, is anyone
put a lot of money on that?
Is anyone going to take a tenner off me for that?
The fact that Pandora's actually broken ground means no. But I mean, you might be right that it opens beforehand. No, I think the only problem with the announcement was the fact that there is no date.
No.
There's nothing in concrete, which Disney, the difference between Disney and the people down the road that own a movie studio is that normally Universal turn around and go, this is coming next year. So, King Kong coming next year. Fast and Furious coming next year. You know when it's going to happen. Disney, when they announce Avatar, it's coming. And then they've announced Star Wars Land, and it's coming.
Yeah.
It should be in a galaxy at some point in the future.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But, I mean, was anyone not impressed with the announcement?
I don't know. Impressed, overawed. Yeah, I was glad they're doing it. I'm incredibly happy they're doing it actually. But yeah, it is just a case of missing the date. It's like, oh come on, when are you planning it by? You said the same thing about Pandora, and now I'm just completely unenthused about it again. That's got. Well, I mean. That's gone through its ups and downs of, I was completely unenthused about it, and then finally the pictures came out and they broke ground, and you thought, you know what, this is going to be sweet. That's going to be... And then it's like, and it's still ticking by. Nothing else. It's like, yeah, whatever, okay.
To be honest, I think the enthusiasm, I think it was 2 times the enthusiasm for Pandora went. The first one was when the announcements for the films being delayed happened.
Yeah.
I think that's when it really started, the wheels started to fall off. And of course, secondly, is when they knew they were going to get Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, time will tell, I think, with Pandora. I mean, I think everyone is under the impression that Star Wars Land is going to be an absolutely roaring success. I'm talking Harry Potter levels of success. I really do feel that. Yeah. And I think the problem with Pandora is I actually think it's going to be really good. I think it'll do it well, but unless those films come out on time and are better than the first one, it's not going to have the staying power or the impact of a Star Wars.
Yeah. Lynn or Ken, did you guys get down to D23? Were you around for that?
Yes, we were there, but we were selling our book, Cleanin the Kingdom, which is on sale now. People, we were pretty much
all good retailers and some crappy ones.
Yeah.
Yes, we were there selling our book. We were stuck at our booth, so we couldn't really get into those events. But we were there, of course, when everybody came streaming out and talking about it. And I was constantly getting emails from Disney that said, hey, "This is what we're announcing. This is what we're announcing." And so I didn't even have to sit in there because they were sending out emails announcing it to everybody anyway.
Yeah. Must have been a bit of a buzz, though. Yeah. Must have been a good atmosphere.
Well, it was to be expected that they, based on some recent news that was coming out about property Disney had bought around Disneyland and a deal they made with the Anaheim City Council, and then people were kind of expecting that something was going to be announced as far as this, and it was.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I do like Pandora's music. Oh wait, we're talking about something else, aren't we?
If you ask my wife, they like her bracelets as well.
No, they do, yes, very much so.
Some of the announcements that I saw, a lot of the people that I was sort of following and Facebook friends and things like that are big Disneyland Paris people. And they were following a lot of the information that was coming out of there, which was completely underwhelming. Like, and here's some of the new merchandise for this year.
Hit my music.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
It's too early for a soapbox, but
yeah, you would think they could just completely redo that second park in Paris and just completely transform that into Star Wars, and maybe that would be a good thing.
It's either going to be Star Wars, then they might as well. It's Pixar Land. I wonder, will we even get Star Wars version 2?
Yeah,
we're losing Star Tours at the end of January.
Yay!
I'm going to be out there, not because of that, but I'm going to be out there during one of the last weeks it's open before it closes down for, I think it's 6 months to a year. I can't remember exactly how long it is now, but so an upgrade like that's definitely mission 2.
You'll have to let us know when you're out there, because we were out, we were camping in Paris over the last couple of weeks, and whilst we were out there, we became annual pass holders.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Yes, I saw. Yes. Yeah, early Feb. I think we're gonna. But and actually, I think we're just gonna be there in time for Animagique as well.
Yeah. Which
is going to be closing. So actually, the fact that Ken, that you mentioned about the Disney Studios and that, there's a lot going on at the Disney Studios. We're not sure yet what's happening in one of the bigger buildings, but there's been rumours for years of Soarin' coming to the park. or Philharmagique. Yeah. And either one of those attractions could take over that building quite easily.
Yeah, there's been some rumours of some multi-circular camera soaring type filming going on around Europe. So.
Well, the soaring around the world is coming. Yeah. That was announced D23, wasn't it? Is it next year it's coming, guys?
I don't remember what they said the timetable on that was. I think it is. It could be.
I wouldn't announce the timetable.
It could be. Yeah, it could be later this year. They're going to, soaring around the world, both at Walt Disney World and at Disneyland in Anaheim.
But saying that there was nothing about other parks other than the American parks, of course, there was a lot of stuff at D23 for Shanghai Disney.
Yes.
Which
Mr.
is
Tron,
obviously
Mr. Tron fan.
Which obviously is interesting as well because of what's going on in China at the moment.
Well, some of the attractions they announced were previously unannounced, like Great Moments with Chairman Mao. And there was It's a Small World, so only have one child.
It's full of abandoned girls. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the fact that they had, the video for the Tron coaster and the outfits that the staff members wear for the Tron coaster, and the fact they had the bikes there that you ride on for the Tron coaster was of interest to me.
Yeah.
You know what? I think maybe if China can stop messing about with their money and watching their money change value as quickly as it is, maybe they can finance Tron 3 for me. Because I don't understand why you would put a ride in now for... I don't know the parts is open now, but what I mean is Tron Legacy must be bloody popular in China if they think 6 years on that a ride's going to be popular.
How xenophobic and racist do I have to be before starting to refer to it as Tlon?
Start now, my friend.
Why not?
I think you just did it.
Yeah, that's on it.
But I mean, other than the fact that Tron Ride looks great, and I actually know what I think if it is as good as it looked, which it does look bloody good. I mean, Imagineers are all saying how great it is, then maybe they will put it in one of the other parts. And, Paris, please send it their way. That would do me fine. But I mean, have you seen the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction that they got there as well, which is a completely different ride? Well, hang on, you're in a boat.
Yeah.
So that's true.
It has some similarities.
Yeah, you're in a boat and it's in a Disney park. But again, I mean that's an attraction that looks really interesting and is a nice spin. It's not an attraction I'd like to see in any of the other parks, if I'm honest, because the fact that we have fairly traditional Pirates of the Caribbean attractions in Paris and America and also Tokyo, I like the fact that there's elements to the films, but I don't think I'd want an attraction just based around the films. So you can have that one, China. That's fine.
Even if it's got Orlando Bloom in it?
I believe he's actually manning the ride. Yeah. When he's
it's good to have the different parks be different. It really is, because you don't want them to be identical, because then you have no reason to travel from one to the other.
Completely agree. And that's one of the reasons why I was quite glad it's taken Paris so long to upgrade their pirates. Because I say we, because I obviously run the park. In Paris, we as yet don't have the new animatronics of Johnny Depp or Jeffrey Rush, but I know that they are coming within the next year or so. They're obviously trying to do a lot before the 25th anniversary happened. Sorry. Yeah, 25th anniversary. Yeah, my maths is wrong. But so I like that. But saying that, I mean, the French Pirates ride is a completely different ride to the American rides. Yeah. Different layout, different, slightly different scenes. So they're all fairly different. So if all the parts are the same, you wouldn't have a need to visit them. Have you guys actually been to Paris at all?
No, I never have.
I am like a typical American who hasn't traveled anywhere. The furthest east I've gone is the Caribbean, and there were no pirates there that I saw. I'm sure there were pirates there, but none that I saw.
Not that you saw.
And that was to take a Disney cruise, actually. That was as far east as I've gone, and the only time I've been out of the United States, except for Tijuana, Mexico, which really doesn't count because it's very much like Southern California.
Yeah, it's true. And also, you've got Epcot,
I'm pretty sure we know how to get the Americans out of the country and travelling around a bit. We'll just tell them the French have got oil.
We'll travel. Yes, then we travel, but we travel with guns. Yes, we do. I think people would pretty much prefer that we not travel as much.
Probably.
Or that we pretend to be Canadians. We can pretend to be Canadians. Maybe our attitude won't give us away.
Or standard.
It worked in Argo, so. Anyway, yeah, we have, as you've heard, we've got guests here. We alluded to the fact that you were both on custodial.
That's right.
So I think it's about time we actually stop hearing our own voice and find out a little bit more about the adventures of a custodian or of a custodial member of, I don't know, what's the correct term?
Well, we are custodial cast members, or in the old school version, they're Jannies, which is short for janitorial. Or you can call us brooms. We're brothers of the broom. And, it involved a lot of cleaning up, and that's about all we have to say about it. No, we had so much to say about it. We had so many different interesting experiences that we actually wrote a book that's over 400 pages. And Cleaning the Kingdom is all about, people talk about how clean the Disney parks are, especially Disneyland. And 60 years is long enough for the story to go untold as to why. So we tell that story, and we figured we're the ones to tell it because we lived it. Because we were both custodial cast members and had a lot of fun doing it and a lot of different madcap adventures, so we write about it.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get a copy of the book and had to quick speed read it, so I'm a little bit lacking in some facts. But you say you both started around the same time?
Well, we were there during our tenure there overlapped. I started much earlier than Lynn did. This is Ken Pellman, and I started in 1990. And Lynn, you had 2 stints there, right?
Yeah, I was actually in foods in a restaurant from 91 to 93, and then I came back, 5 years later and worked in custodial. I like custodial better. I think we had more freedom to walk around the park and interact with guests and
go places we weren't supposed to go.
Yeah.
We write a lot about that in the book. Because we were both big fans of the park, so we figured, here's our chance to explore it and go places that we normally wouldn't be able to go.
I mean, sort of the traditional story behind why, obviously, Walt in Disney World wanted the underground tunnels, because he was a bit jarred by cowboys from Frontierland walking through Tomorrowland. But custodial, you had the custodial uniform, not an area. So did you have a set area?
Well, in our day, you would often get assigned just to the same area for the summer season, and then the rest of the year you might get moved around. But the more seniority people got, the more they can say, look, I just want to work this area, and then they could get it because they had seniority over other cast members. But we understand nowadays people tend to get assigned to one area until they request to be switched. We got moved, we might be in Tomorrowland one day, and we might be in Frontierland the next. And, of course, the uniform, the costume was the same. The only exception was that we had a special Toontown costume in the early years of Mickey's Toontown being open. And as if it wasn't warm enough up there, we had to wear an extra vest and a cap and a bow tie, and it was very, very flashy.
Yeah.
People would still go, do you work here? It's like, no, I'm just a crazy, snazzy dresser.
Dapper days.
Yeah.
This is what keeps me comfortable. So it was assigned to an area. It wasn't like a roaming role of you just take a broom and your pan and
well, you get assigned to an area.
Follow where your heart takes you.
And we go into great detail about this in the book, but like you'll be assigned to the Adventure Frontier area for the day, and your foreman, which we got to be during our time, when we got out there, the foreman would say, you're going to do this particular task. Like, you're going to be covering Frontierland as a sweeper, or you're going to be sweeping the lines in Adventureland and Frontierland, that sort of thing. So you would get assigned to an area for the day, and then your foreman would give you the specific task in that area. So you wouldn't get to roam the entire park that day, but the next day you might be in Fantasyland.
Excellent. So of all your tenure serving the park like you did, the book is full of stories. Have you got a couple of favourites that you could share before our listeners want to read it?
I think that one that stuck out to me was it didn't happen to either of us, but we were told from because in this book we also interviewed several other people and got their story, their input too. But it is probably 90%, 80 our stories. But the one that I heard that I enjoyed the most was hearing about the Tomorrowland cast members that were assigned to dump the trash in that area. In between dumping the trash, they would get on the monorail and take it over to the Disneyland Hotel and go swimming in the pool and then come back.
Yeah, that was definitely unauthorized. They would do the work fast enough, and our clothes lockers were close enough to the Tomorrowland area that they could easily change into their regular clothes, hop on the monorail, and then they would just go for a swim and then come back, and nobody was any the wiser than what they were up to.
Staff pass in and out, that would do.
Yeah.
Even though they were slightly wetter than when they first appeared. Interesting.
Well, there's towels, there's towels over there at the hotel, and so that helped them dry off.
Yeah. This really is a different lifestyle to us. Towels, Jesus. With obviously, the good, not the good bits, but I mean, obviously, the book is full of interesting facts and stories. But is there anything that you for editorial reasons or for page reasons you didn't include that you wish you had done?
Well, we included most of our own personal stories. There's a lot of opinions that we kind of held back on, or were very careful and delicate about what we wrote. Most of the people that are at the brunt of the negative stuff aren't there anymore, so it's not like it's a situation that we're addressing the current situation. We're very affectionate, and we remain fans of Disneyland and Disney in general. If there is ever a sequel, we will probably have a few more stories to tell of our own and plenty of other people's. But we were just really careful. Disney gets really uptight about people talking about people engaging in certain activities with each other on property.
Enjoying other people's company.
We call it discovering the magic.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm guessing that happened then.
Well, there were guests who did that, and there were cast members who did that, and one of the things, one of the stories I do have in the book is about sexual harassment training. And I was in there.
How to do it?
Yes, how to do it and not get caught. No, but there was the instructor said, "Look, you're not allowed to engage in sex even on your break on property, and you never know when you're on camera. And then we have to watch those videos." And that's when my hand shot up, and I said, "Are there any openings in your department?" And I was not fired that day, so that was incredible.
At least I have a sense of humour.
Yeah.
Well, some people do.
Were you fans of the park before you started working there? When you kind of applied for your very first position, like the restaurant or that sort of thing?
I was an annual pass holder, which Southern California, a lot of people were and still are. But yeah, I enjoyed going to the parks often and a fan of. I think that's what attracted me to go work there. I don't know about Ken, but I assume so.
Well, didn't you read the book, Lynn?
No.
I was a huge fan, and I went to work there while I was still in high school because I wanted to well, first of all, have a job, but I wanted to have a job that would give me some insight into how the place was put together and how it operated, because I wanted to get into theme park design myself and maybe become an Imagineer. Didn't happen, but I had a lot of fun along the way anyway.
So since you've now retired from the Disney community of that, well, from working there, obviously you haven't retired from Disney. I'll babble. I've been drinking. Do you find yourself going back fairly regularly as well?
Well, Lynn lives in Utah, but which is a short drive away, right, Lynn?
6 hour drive, so not too bad. But we go maybe about once or twice a year.
I actually live in the city of Anaheim myself, and I do have an annual pass, and I'm planning on going soon after we're done talking. And I try to get there once every couple of weeks or once a week or so. And sometimes people can find me carrying copies of my book, which is called Cleaning the Kingdom, which they can order on Kindle. They can order on Kindle or Nook or get from our website at thesweepspot.com. Not that I'm trying to sneak in a shameless plug here or anything.
No. And the thing is actually...
Because, of course, we wouldn't do that if we actually bothered to write a book and went on other people's books.
No.
So you're forgiven.
I actually get annoyed when people don't. This is as much a marketing opportunity for you guys or any of our guests as it is for us to produce content. So sometimes you have to really go.
If we're struggling,
what's that thing again that you're talking about?
If we're struggling for time, plug it slowly.
As slowly and long as. In fact, if you want to list all the Barnes and Nobles that you can buy your book, please do. Not tonight. I think we've got enough with you guys. It's fine. But no, I mean it sounds fascinating, and I think what is interesting about your book is, you do get people that talk about their experiences, but I think because of the roles that you've had, it's a completely different way of looking at the parks, and you'll obviously be privy to things that other people just wouldn't have seen. So I think
this is a book that
really makes
there's no other book just like this out there. This is a new perspective that people haven't had of Disneyland. So it kind of fills in the gaps of Disney history for that time period, and it gives people a look that they can't get anywhere else. So it's a unique perspective, and if people are big fans of the park, or we've had people who do janitorial work elsewhere who are interested because they want to compare notes, and so it's something to check out. I know there's a million Disney books out there, but there's none other like this.
When you do get to the park, do you find yourself being either overly critical or far more sort of empathic with the actual custodial staff that are there at the moment?
Yeah, I notice things.
Yeah, we do.
I notice things right away. An overflowing trash can, or my first response is, I got to call someone and let them know about this. But
yes, and just seeing them do it's so crowded these days, and with some of these nighttime shows that they have now. And I do have some empathy for them. It's like, well, look at that. They're working hard. And I'll even cheer for them as they come by. I'll go, yay. And sometimes I'm wearing a sweepspot t-shirt, and I'll point to it and say, look, I'm part of your fan club. I used to do this, and I know what you're going through, so keep up the good work. You're doing a good job.
But if you want to know more about what I used to do, then pick up my copy of this book.
That's right. This will help you get through your day.
The reaction if that was a British theme park with English janitorial staff cleaning, and someone who used to clapped them, cheered them, and yay! You'd get a punch for being sarcastic.
Yeah, punch or bottle to the head for sure.
Yeah.
Different world entirely.
You get a trash can emptied on your head.
Yeah, this is the only way. Ken, you brought up you mentioned something which I think is going to be quite prominent in one of our shows coming up when we have our beloved Craig come back from his trip to Orlando, and that's about the parks and how they've changed and they've got busy. And I've heard a lot recently about how much Disneyland and California Adventure the last couple of years I've got really busy all of a sudden. I don't know if that's because there's more pass holders or just the attractions there, but as someone that is there quite a lot, have you noticed that yourself?
Yeah, the nighttime is especially so. They've actually widened walkways because of the nighttime shows. The fireworks shows and the parades, they've really put a lot into these things, and it's very, very busy. And yes, annual passes do have a lot to do with it. I mean, people can buy them with monthly payments without adding any cost to it. So it's becoming like a country club without the pool, or without the golf, and it's very, very crowded.
But what better way to help with the crowds is to add a Star Wars land.
That's right, add a Star Wars land.
That will fix it.
Yeah. Well, and yes, when you do have major new attractions, it does drive attendance. And California Adventure got their Radiator Springs Racers, and of course the nighttime show, the Wonderful World of Color show, is very good. So that does drive some high attendance. And if you've made it so inexpensive for people to come in, if they buy an annual pass, then they're going to come in frequently, even if they don't necessarily go on very many attractions, but they're still crowding the walkway.
And how much is an annual pass?
Oh, goodness. The top of the line ones for one coast, for like the West Coast, I think it's $600 and something now.
Almost $7. Yeah.
Yeah, then that includes parking and some discounts. But you can get one that's for Walt Disney World and Disneyland. It's like over $1,000 now.
Wow.
Yeah, but you can get these what they call Southern California Select if you live locally, and you can have these monthly payments. So you're paying $20 or whatever a month or whatever, and so it becomes like this club. But those only allow you access like on weekdays and things like that.
Yeah, because you're local. I get that.
As an ex-cast member, you're not getting sort of advanced line membership to Club 33 or anything like that.
No. I could afford that on my own.
Worth a try.
No.
That's why you've written a book.
Yeah, just in case I find myself in California, I keep trying to find people who are members.
Yeah.
Well, that's always good to saddle up to a member of Club 33 and then say, hey, how about some brunch?
Yeah. My treat.
When you guys were in the parks, did you have any come across any celebrities or?
Good question.
Meet any famous folk?
We have a whole chapter about that. Yes, we did. We would bump into celebrities. And sometimes we wouldn't even know who they were. We could tell they were celebrities because they were being escorted. And we would often, I would turn to somebody else and say, who is that? But there were times we knew who the people were. There was Michael Jackson when he was, obviously when he was still alive. It was kind of, he stopped coming as often when he died. Some of the athletes are kind of hard to hide. You've got the basketball players coming through who are 7 feet tall. It's very easy to spot them. But yes, various celebrities. Lynn, you want to tell a couple of those stories?
I don't really have any actual talking with the celebrity, but we've seen them.
We weren't supposed to harass them.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to approach them unless they obviously needed some help. And since they were usually escorted, they would have their escort to deal with.
Yeah.
But
but
Lynn,
in that case, in your positions, which ones made the most mess?
I don't know.
I'm looking for names. I want something like J-Lo is a terrible litter dropper.
There's a few I'd like to name, but no. Well, the thing with us is we were on the lookout for people who were kind of famous in Disney circles.
Yeah,
maybe they were Disney legends, former executives of the park, or the Sherman brothers, like Richard Sherman, one of the the songwriting duo. Yeah. I would bump into him from time to time, and I'd be like, hello, and just start talking with him. And, it was just amazing. Here's the guy who wrote half the music in the park with his brother. And he's just walking around, and he's asking, where should I have dinner? And I'm like thinking, out of all the people who should be up in Club 33, it should be you. After everything you've written for the park, it's a small world and tiki room and all that.
What's worse as well is...
Michael Eisner,
Yeah, Michael Eisner. We bumped into him.
Eisner.
He was CEO of Disney. Yes.
Did you boo him?
Not the most friendliest, but but I saw him.
Lynn details that book. Yeah.
Yeah, he put. Maybe he had his thoughts somewhere else, but I was the only one in the pathway, and as soon as he got close enough to me, he put his head down and walked past me. So you would think that someone, the president of a company, would see one of their employees, would at least acknowledge them. But that's my
I don't know. I think that's. I think that's fairly common. Not to defend him at all.
Yeah.
But I think you get it one or two ways. You either get the people in charge who will kind of blow you away at the way they'll speak to the common man, and knows that the mere thought that you're breathing the same air disgusts them.
Yeah.
So, this whole painting with your water on the floor, is that a relatively recent thing since Facebook has been publishing photographs of everyone who goes on vacation?
What, water painting?
Yeah, or has it been going on for years?
No, it's a relatively recent thing.
Yeah, it's new.
But there is a chapter about that includes descriptions of how people used to do their own paintings inside the restroom stalls.
Using water.
Yeah, not quite. But what I did want to mention is we keep all of that really disgusting stuff to one chapter. So if anybody's afraid of buying Cleaning the Kingdom, on sale now. But if anyone's afraid of buying that because they're afraid there'll be too much disgusting stuff in there, we try to keep it all in chapter 5 so that you know not to read that while you're eating.
Or for your podcast. I have a story right now. Just kidding.
We don't mind.
Yeah, it's after dinner, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for anyone that follows us on facebook.com/DisAfterDark, our friend Craig, the fourth member of the team, who's out in Orlando at the moment, has been actually taking photos of himself in various stalls.
Yeah. Where in the park am I?
He hangs up his fanny pack and takes a picture.
That's terrible. Does he have trouble remembering where he is?
Well, he's from Liverpool. That's all I'm going to say. He's probably just drunk, to be honest. Know what Craig's like. So
smuggling something into World Showcase. Not that you have to. Right. What letter are we on after 2 weeks?
Oh
F.
God.
F. We said.
I think it was F's, wasn't it?
It's F.
Yeah. So tonight's episode, what the F is going on? Gents, for the last few shows, we've been going through the alphabet, and today's letter is F. So, not to put you on the spot or anything, we'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it. Nick.
So you got to tell them what they got to do with the letter F.
Yeah.
No.
You got to give them a bit of a clue.
They'll realise that once Nick and you have gone through yours.
All right.
Is it too obvious? Is it too obvious to say it?
On this podcast, it's never too obvious.
I mean, I don't think a Disney park could possibly be complete without a Fantasyland. You can take away a Tomorrowland. Of course, replace it with a Discoveryland.
Yeah.
But you cannot take a Fantasyland out of a Disney park. No. It is surely the land.
Yeah. There could be 8 others around it, but unless there is a Fantasyland, you're right, it's not a Disney park.
And the thing is as well, when you look at the attractions you get in a Fantasyland, right? So they've all got a Small World.
Yeah.
Which is most people's least favourite ride, let's be honest. You've then got your rides based around the cartoons. So you've got maybe your Snow White still, if it's in your local park, or Pinocchio.
Yeah.
You might have Winnie the Pooh instead, or Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, or an Alice in Wonderland.
And you have kids now, so you're going to be queuing for Dumbo.
Oh, you don't have to queue so much now. Now they've got 2 of them. There's never a queue.
Paris has only got 1. Yeah. But saying that, the queues are never that long. And yet, even with rides like that, you have to go. And you know what? I'm going to enjoy going now that we have the children.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Lincoln's first trip. I think he's going to love it. He's quite into Mickey Mouse at the moment. and they're both into Toy Story, so that's going to be enormous fun taking them to the studios. But being able to go to Fantasyland now with children, it just actually makes it really worthwhile. Rather than it being a rite of passage, something you have to do, now you have the reason to actually do it and put a brave face on and enjoy all the rides.
I think that's a fair call. Okay.
But yeah, Fantasyland for me.
Fantasyland for the F. All right, Mr. D.
Fast Pass.
Oh, a good F. Yes.
Yeah. And I miss the paper Fast Passes, I must admit.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Magic Bands. I think they're really good, really clever, good use of technology. But the pre-booking of the Fast Passes doesn't work quite as well for me as the old paper Fast Passes.
You went, you got a Fast Pass, and then you couldn't get another one until 12:30.
That's it.
Yeah.
Plus, as well, like, to me, it's a lovely memento, a Fast Pass.
Yeah, we've got a few souvenirs,
yeah.
And then it's really nice if it if you're leaving the park, you decide to leave the park, and you've still got some Fast Passes.
Pass the magic on.
And you give them to somebody, and you see the magic light in their face. Well, first of all, you see who is this strange man and why is he talking to me, and then you see the magic in their face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you got the idea?
That sounds like a little bit what Ken was referring to earlier.
It's a Disney-related F. So,
I get it.
Yeah.
I have one. So one of my favorite shows, and I think that it's probably the best version of this show, is at Disneyland. Out of all of them, is Fantasmic.
Great shout. Great shout.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, I've only seen the Hollywood Studios version of Fantasmic, and I agree, it's a fantastic show.
It's on the little lake thing.
That's right. So what is it that is different for people that haven't been? What is it that's different about the California Fantasmic, and why is it better?
I think it's amazing how they transformed the area. You wouldn't know that, you get there in the morning, you wouldn't know that 8 hours later or whatever, there's going to be a show taking place around the rivers of America, because the stage is actually on Tom Sawyer Island, and the area surrounding the water is the seating area. There's no seats. You sit on the ground or stand, depending on where you are. But I think that's pretty neat. But then they also incorporate the Mark Twain riverboat and the sailing ship Columbia into the show itself. So those are attractions during the day you can go on, and then later they're part of the show. That's what I
gotta say that was one of my memories from Disneyland when we first went there. That was 92, so you guys were probably there then. But that's one big difference. We were watching the dragon on the island. I think it was the dragon. And then all of a sudden the island goes dark and the Columbia lights up with Peter Pan in the rigging and Captain Hook. And it's just such a shock. You don't even see this thing creeping up in the dark. And all of a sudden, bang, the light switch and it's right there in front of you. It's a great effect.
Excellent.
Cool. Great F.
Yeah. Any other? Go on. We've got one more, or shall I do? Are you still thinking?
No, I would say futurism. Disney parks have often incorporated some form of futurism, whether it's been really serious futurism or just kind of tongue-in-cheek. But that has been a very important element of the Disney resorts, including, Epcot, Future World, and of course Tomorrowland. And just kind of taking a look at the future is in a hopeful way. Usually, I mean, there's been attractions that have kind of made it a little scary, but taking a look at the future in an optimistic and hopeful way has been an essential element of Disney theme parks.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's a brilliant. In fact, one of the only things that Disneyland Paris lacks really is future looking. I don't mean that like that, but I mean the fact that there's not even a Tomorrowland.
No,
everything is.
Yeah, Discoveryland is all steampunk.
Yeah, they went for the sort of Jules Verne future, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, seeing as
Go on, Paul. What's yours?
Almost every F we've had has had some sort of fantasy type thing. I was actually going to go for the Disney film that started my adult penchant for Disney films, which is
Flabber.
I've lost track now. I wrote it down. I've lost it.
Fievel.
Fievel Goes West. Oh Christ, no. The one where he's the wizard and shit. You know the one. Fantasia.
Fantasia.
Yeah. I picked Fantasia. Yeah. I watched a lot of the Disney movies as a kid, and then I went through the teenage years of listening to. If I start saying Def Leppard and Poison and Motley Crue, I start giving away my age again, don't I? My teenage years. But there you go.
Sounds like mine.
Nothing wrong being 50, though.
Yeah. So, obviously, a little bit of Disney fell to the wayside then, but catching up on Fantasia when it was released on Laserdisc.
Talk about
Kids,
futurism.
Get out your Google.
Yeah, you got to look that one up.
Yeah.
And actually watching it on a big screen TV, at 28 inches.
Cathode ray tube.
Yeah.
Massive. Because it's funny, actually, you mentioned Fantasia, because I remember catching it at the cinema, and it must have come out just before the Laserdisc, about 90, 91, something like that. Got a feeling it was 90. And I remember there being a lot of hype around it, because there was even a game, they released a Mega Drive game where you played Sorcerer Mickey when it came out. And I remember going and being completely bored. Because I was like about, showing my age, I was about 7, 6, 7, something like that. And later on, you can appreciate it a lot more, I think. And I think it's a good film to look back on as an adult.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird films that you think, this will never get made. It will never work. How? How did that... So we take some cartoons and we put them to classical music. What's the story? There isn't one. Who's the hero? There isn't one. What's the bad guy doing it? There isn't one. It's got like unicorns and shit.
But saying, I've got to be honest, I've actually, although I own it, I still haven't seen Fantasia 2000.
Well, that's funny you should say that. I bought a 2-movie box set of Fantasia and Fantasia 2000, and I still haven't watched Fantasia 2000. But I'm gonna.
And not because I've been told not to, but
yeah. I just haven't got around to it.
No. Hey, guys, have you seen it at all?
Yeah, I've seen it.
He's a regular film critic.
Yeah, he's a regular Roger Ebert.
I've seen Fantasia and Fantasia 2000. So those were both very nice works of art. And I remember when Fantasia continued, or Fantasia 2000, as it might be called, came out. And that was great. And I think Roy Edward Disney had a lot to do in getting that done. And he, of course, he's no longer with us, but that was one of the things he really, really wanted to do, was do the continued Fantasia.
And I think that's so important. I mean, I think, like I said, not appreciating it as a kid, but when you look at what Walt was trying to do with the original Fantasia, with Snow White, he kind of gave a new interest in animation. Like, it wasn't seen as something that was going to be for adults, and he changed the world with it. And with Fantasia, he wanted to do that again. And it was a failed experiment. It didn't set the world alight, but as you called it, it's a piece of art. And was very, very, very personal to him. So I think you're right. I think Roy was very, very within his right to push for it to be made, because he knew how important it would have been for his brother. So, whether you love it or not, I think they are, probably more important than a lot of stuff, especially I'm looking at you, Home on the Range. Yeah. I'm singling you out, you piece of crap. Home on the Range. Jesus Christ. It's the only time I've ever watched a Disney film. I should have played my soapbox music. It's the only time I've watched a Disney film and never wanted to watch it ever again.
You obviously haven't seen Atlantis then.
You know what? I actually saw that recently for the first ever time, and it was okay. And while I'm in no rush, while I'm in no rush to ever watch it again, at the same time, I'd watch that 1,000 times more than that stupid film about crappy cows. God, that should have been.
Tell us what you really think.
Mention that in my C's. It makes me mad. That's what happens.
Hang on,
it makes me mad.
You got a couple of weeks before H.
Yeah, I know.
Just
save it
up.
Home on the Range and Disneyland Paris announcements not being made at D23. They make me mad.
I'm so glad that none of us embarrassed ourselves by saying filler magic.
Yeah.
I was going to say Phantom Manor.
I've seen my oldest daughter's spelling. I was going to go in the Bambi route and go with Thumper.
Thumper.
Eddie, on that misspelling note, do you want a final plug for your book and/or podcast?
Lynn?
Yeah, like Ken was saying, you can go to the best way is to go to our website, because you can get autographed copies of the book Cleaning the Kingdom at our website, which is the Sweep with the P, sweepspot.com. And it's on Kindle, and you can get it on Amazon, but it won't be autographed copies.
And where do you get the most money? I ask this quite a lot. Which one gives you more money?
From our website, because that's coming directly from me, or Ken.
Yes, it's also if you're not a Kindle person, if you're a Nook person, it's on Nook as well. And
Cranny.
That's an English word.
No, it's not. It's not in any crannies, but it is in nooks.
That's good.
It's our website is also called the Sweepspot. So the website is free. The book is a bargain, as I like to say.
Am I right in thinking that if you use the offer code DisAfterDark, you get a free invisible handshake?
Yeah. You get a nice, clean, unsigned copy.
No, you get chapter 5 included, which is the really good one.
Yeah. That's right. If you order now, we'll include page numbers for free.
And words.
That's right.
Yeah.
And a glossary. We'll have a glossary in there.
Jeez, not.
It's got everything.
Enough books have glossaries. It has got it all.
Yeah.
We've got to explain what we mean when we say things like code V and code U and things like that.
Protein spill.
And he's a bee, you know. A bee? What do you mean? He's flying around stinging people? That's not what I...
It's probably the same thing we mean as well, actually.
Or she's a bee. That could be.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you say she's a bee.
Especially if she's a D.
Yeah.
And of course, you'll find the podcast if you join us at MicePod, home of many fine podcasts, but 2 excellent podcasts.
Yeah. Indeed.
At least 2 definitely excellent podcasts.
I've sighed again. I do that when I've
did.
2 fingers.
I would, but I haven't got any left. I've timed it perfectly towards the end.
Well, if anyone wants to get hold of us, mainly if Mr. Boniface owes you money, then you can visit our website at www.disafterdark.com.
Tax man.
Oh, we have a lot of things that sound like tax man, but not that. Or you can email us at podcast@disafterdark.com.
And if I owe you any money, this has been the DisneyBrit Podcast.
And I am Adam Goodger. Yes.
I am Adam Goodger, yeah. Now, you can also find us on Twitter at DisAfterDark, Facebook.com/DisAfterDark, and I think we've already said MiceChat.com, but I'll say it again.
I'm just
but if you want us to leave us a bad review on iTunes, it is DisneyBrit, just to clarify.
Yeah.
If I owe you any money, I'm just waving my hand in a Jedi-like fashion and going, I'm not here.
Yeah. This is not the podcaster you want.
YouTube, DisAfterDark, Instagram, yeah, you name it, we're here. Gentlemen,
Laserdisc.
Yeah, VHS and Betamax. Gentlemen, it has, as always, been an absolute pleasure. Fantastic speaking to you.
Great to talk
Yeah,
to you
feel
guys.
free to come back anytime.
Yeah.
This has been great. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
If Volume 2 pops up any way, shape or form, or if you need someone to actually make a mess in a kingdom, we'll come out and serve that purpose.
Or sing.
Sing.
Craig.
Yeah, Craig can sing. We're not doing it. Fantastic. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Dear listener, we shall speak to you all and hopefully hear from you shortly in a fortnight.
Growing older is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Dis After Dark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
By the way, that is gravel.
Is it? What are you doing?
Yeah,
You out in the garden?
I'm out in the bear garden.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We just go inside and use the toilet when we have to.
Paul, do you know any good books about cleaning at Disneyland?
And we're clear.